All right. So I think most of us are here. So let's get started. So welcome to the office hours, guys, and thank you all for joining on a busy Thursday evening. So today we're all here to talk about Facet's latest release, which is more focused on how you manage your infra as always. And this feature is special because we've made a lot of new features that will improve your security. Right before we go into what features we've built and the live demos for each of them, let me just give you a quick introduction to our speakers. So we have Anuj and Akshay from the engineering team, and we have Krishna and myself from the product team. Yep. So here are some of the features that we've released. We have the maintenance release, the mapping container registries projects, release preview, the RBAC enhancements that we've rolled out, and project types. Uh, Before we go further ahead, just a quick agenda for the call. So we will go through the features and we will also have a live demo of each of them. And towards the end, we will have a quick round of Q&A. So please keep dropping your questions. We will answer them in the chat or we will take them up towards the end in our Q&A itself. Yeah. So let's get started. Yeah. So like we said, this release has been about improving your security aspects, reducing your downtime, giving you granular control, and also giving you a lot more visibility into what happens in facets. Right. So just quick one-liners about each feature. With maintenance release, now you have visibility and access onto when the migration scripts can be run. You can set dedicated windows and to reduce your downtime and also maintain control over when this happens. So based on your business use cases, you can set the schedule for these releases. The release preview is for you to get full visibility into what changes are going in your infra right before you deploy them. This sort of enables you to double check and get confident on what releases you're making. The project types allows you to create reusable templates to maintain consistent structure and configurations of your projects. So this is especially useful when you're a big enterprise setup and recreating multiple projects. And each of your projects for your multiple business teams could have a different structural setup, right? And the next feature is the mapping container registries to projects. So similarly here, if you're a big enterprise or a big organization with multiple container registries and multiple projects, and if there are multiple super admins who have access to each of these, giving granular access here is what this feature is all about. Um, yes. And next would be the RBAC enhancements. So with the new RBAC enhancements, it comes with multiple user groups and the access analyzer. And we will go through all these in a live demo. Yep. So on to the feature demos. So let's start with maintenance releases. Over to you, Anuj.
Yeah, thanks, sir. Uh, so maintenance release. So you would have seen the maintenance window feature that we had released a couple of months back. So what we did during that time was run the pending maintenance scripts in that time period that we had said, the 4 hour time period that we had. So maintenance release brings that to an extra step. So now what would happen is that you would typically see IAC version bumps from our team in our releases, right? You would have your stage environments mapped to a stage IAC stream and your production environments mapped to the production IAC stream. So wherever the IAC version bumped, there would perhaps be migration scripts attached to it so that the new IAC code, uh, because of the new IAC code, your existing infrastructure would have to be migrated to a certain state. So those were needed, and those we have been having since our IAC was out. But the scripts ran automatically without your control. So if you did a full release, the remaining scripts would run. And if you were trying to do a quick hotfix or something, it would cause blockers or something. Okay, audio is not clear. Hmm. All right, give me a second. Uh, is it fine now? Can someone confirm? Thank you. Yeah. Uh, right. I'll start this with a demo. I'll share my screen. Yeah. So I have this environment that we have created, and I'll show the releases page for this. So we have an extra tab here, right? You can see the IAC overview here, and you can see a view pending migration here. So your IAC version would be typically something in your previous release. Your previous release was launched in this case, so it must have been launched with a certain version. And once I change a version, let's say Facets itself introduces a new version, might have some pending migration script attached to it. So that visibility is now on the UI. You'll be able to see the pending migrations and some description regarding them, and you can uh, trigger the migrations manually. So if you do not want to do this, what will happen is that your last successful uh, release that you had, right? Last successful IAC version release, that will continue to be used, so that you can control when you want the migration to be done. Once you trigger those migrations from here, let's say using this release, the run migration maintenance button. Once you do this, the pending migrations will be run, and this will become empty eventually. And then your new IAC code will start to get implemented. So that is to have stability in our releases instead of us forcing you to make release IAC updates. You can have it under control. And rather than doing it manually, what we recommend is that you set a maintenance window. So this is by default set. If you don't run them manually, these will run automatically. This is a weekly window that you set. This has already been released earlier, so you'll continue to use this one for that. Let's say we have said that we need to release the pending migrations every Monday on 7:14. This would typically be your weekend or off time that you will set here, so that we run the pending migrations during this period. Yeah, that is it. All right. And another thing that we have is that just in case the releases fail, this we typically avoid. We try to make the migration steps as robust as possible so that they don't fail. In case they fail, what we'll do is that we'll pause the releases that you have in your environment so that your cluster doesn't go into an inconsistent state. So failing migration script would mean that something has gone wrong from our end. So typically our facets on-call engineer will intervene and try to solve it for you so that your releases are not blocked. Because what would happen is that the infrastructure might go into an inconsistent state in case you continue to do releases even after a migration has failed. So yeah, and so similarly we have a new release type for that you'll be able to see on the UI. Yeah, we have a maintenance release type, and you can set up notifications for this in your uh, yeah, in your notification center. We'll have a new filter for your deployment status update releases. So we have this notification type of deployment status update. Right? This has already been there. Let's just select some uh, random values, and yeah, you have a release type filter new, and this will have maintenance release. So if you want to have alerts for, let's say, fail maintenance releases, you can do it from here. Let's say you set up these filters, and you'll be able to get all environments. You'll be able to get your alerts for this. Uh, yeah, that is it, I think. Uh, over to you, Adi.
Yes, thank you, Anuj, for the demo. Let's just quickly go on to the next feature. Yeah, over to you, Anuj.
Yeah. Uh, we have project types, right? So uh, what we have is that we have a static list of projects that we maintain, static list of resources that we maintain in our project types, and uh, what we do is that whenever you create a project, we add a static list of resources that you add when you create the project. So that we are making it configurable. So what you do is that you create a project type, and your project type will be mapped to an existing project, or you can give your Git account details. Let's say you select your repo that you want to map to, or you can select an existing project. Let's say uh, I select this project as my uh, project type, and I just give it a name. Let's say uh, right. Uh, so it will pick the Git account from this project itself and its repo, and it will create a project type for that. Right. So I have created this project type officers, and I can use this to create projects. So this will be mapped to this repo of mine that has these resources. This is a commit ID that it is mapped to, not to a branch itself. So this is immutable. The resources will stay as it is. Now I can use this project type to create a project. Let's say I go to create project model. I can say office hours is my project name, and I select my account. And the project type that I want is the office hours one. So the base resources that will be picked, those will be the office hours one instead of the default one. So the default one is what we are given by default. Those are the facets resources that we typically provide. But you might not want those resources, or you might want some extra resources that you want in all your projects. So you can configure that from here. And our primary cloud field has been replaced by allowed cloud field. So what would happen there is that if you restrict it here, let's say I remove these three clouds, what would happen is that you will only be able to create environments in AWS cloud. So let's say you want this restriction to be added for your team, you can do that. Yeah. So once I create this, the resource that will be picked will be from the office as project type that I just created. Yeah, that's it, I think.
Yep. Thanks, Anuj, for giving us the demo of project types as well. So again, like we mentioned, the use case here is when you're a huge organization and you have multiple projects, and for different teams and different super admins, that's when this would be most useful for you. On to the next feature, which is release preview. Over to you, Akshay.
Yeah, thanks, Arun. So, release preview gives you a very clear and clear picture about what is the infrastructure changes that are going to get deployed in the upcoming release. So, earlier what you used to do is used to run a plan release to see what are the changes that are going to get applied, and then you used to apply a plan. So, with this release, you can just see that infrastructure changes before you run any release. Yeah, so I have a project here. So let me show you what are the changes what I'm going to do here, which are typically done by developers. So I have a Hello World application here. I'll go to the configuration. Let me just change the CPU size. Let me make it 250. All right. Let me change the image as well. So this is typically done by the developers. They update the image, they update the configuration. So we make it to a specific tag. Yeah. So these are the changes that are done in the blueprint. So one more change that is typically done is on an environment level, which is an override. So let me come to a different service. Let me change the memory limit as well. Yeah. So I've done changes to two services here. So this is a typical scenario where you have multiple developers working on the same project, working on different resources. So when you want to do a release, you are not sure on what are the changes that are going to go. So which reduces the confidence in performing full releases. So with this feature, before you click a release, uh, you understand what are the changes that are going to go. So here I see what are the changes to which this to which services are going to go and what are the type of changes as well. So for this service, there is an override change. For the Hello World service, there is an artifact and a blueprint change. So with this, you get a clear picture on what are the changes that are going to go in this release. So you can just click on confirm, and just like that, you have done a full release. Yeah, that's all related to release preview. Over to you, Adi.
So on to our next feature. Yeah. So on to our next feature, which is mapping container registries to project. So like we mentioned earlier, this is when you have a huge organizational setup, mostly enterprises. When you have multiple projects, be it tens or hundreds, and multiple container registries as well. So when you have multiple super admins and admins who are going to access or set a specific sort of access for certain container registries to be available in certain projects, that's when you would need this. Else, all container registries would be available in all projects. So based on your security stance and your organizational policies, you can give the container registries granular access to which projects it has to be accessed from. So let me just show you a quick demo of how you can set it in the product. So you can head over to the container registries tab. You can set this while you're linking a container registry or for an existing container registry. You can set it. So for example, let's take GAR2. You can go to attach projects, choose which projects that you want. Yep. So we'll just choose 3 projects, right? So now you can see that this container registry is only mapped to these projects. So in these projects, while you add a service and you want to attach an image, you will only the images will only be pulled from these container registries, right? So by default, the container registries will be mapped to all projects, and based on your security and compliance stance, you can set this itself. Yeah. So on to the next feature, which is the RBAC enhancements. Over to you, Krishna.
Yeah, thanks, Adi. So earlier, what we used to have for user groups is when creating a user, you could select a user group for a user and assign it. But this was an issue for the people who wanted to edit out user groups, because let's say if I want to change a role or give access to a new project, then a new user group had to be created and then assigned to the user. Or let's say if a user is part of multiple projects, you'll have to make user group very customized to that particular user. So this was an issue that the people were facing. So to solve this issue, we have brought in multiple user group mapping for users. So now while creating a user or editing a user, you can assign multiple user groups to one user, and the user will get access to all the projects and environments of all the user groups. Basically, a union would be there, and the role conflict would be resolved using the latest user group that has been assigned. Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and create one new user. So let's say office hours. So earlier this was just single select drop down. Now you can just select multiple user groups if you want. So let me just show what this user group actually means. So the first user group, it has a role, default role developer, and it has access to these 2 projects and these 4 environments. And similarly for the second user group, the role is Akshay Sanity, and these are the 2 projects and 2 environments that are accessible. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and give both of these user groups. I'll assign it to this user, and you can see the role that is being derived is from the latest one, that is 2 test. And let's say if I change the order, if I assign 1 test as the latest one, I'll get the default role as developer. So this is the enhancement that we have done. This would solve the issue of creating multiple user groups customized per user, and you can manage your user groups at the project level. The next enhancement that we have done is related to access analyzer. So during your audits and compliance policies, the checks of your compliance policies, you need to check which user has what sort of permission. So let's say I just want to check which user has the accounts write and accounts delete permission. So earlier, like, you had to do it manually, but now we have built this access analyzer where you can just select the permissions from the drop down, and whichever user has the intersection of these permissions, it would be shown here. And the source of the permission could be a default role as well as environment specific role, so you can check that as well. So basically, this testing user has this permission from the environment specific role, and the other users have it from the default role. And the final enhancement that we have done in user management is earlier there was no way to export the list of users in case you had some audit going on. So there was API for it, but there was no way to do it from the UI. So we have built this feature where you can just export the list of the users and you will get it as a CSV. Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Thanks, Krishna, for giving us. Yeah, thanks, Krishna, for giving us a demo on Artback. I think this would help our users greatly improve their security stance, especially during their compliance and audits itself. Um, just, I think that is it for our demos. On to our enhancements that we have worked on. So as you all know, we support blue, green, and canary deployments. So now the rolling restart option would be disabled when the preview version is available. So while the preview version is available, you will not be able to perform a rolling restart. And you have namespace support in the resource forms. So if a default namespace is taken, you can provide an additional namespace. And there has been a seamless upgrade for the GKE from 1.29 to 1.31 without any service interruption and user interruptions itself. Yep. So as we come to the end of our session, we have some questions that our users have asked us. So let's start answering them live. Yeah. So yes. So we have a question which is, can we use union filter for access analyzer? Yeah. Krishna?
So in Access Analyzer, if you select two permissions, so it will show the list of users that has both the permissions. So that is what we have supported right now. So let's say if you want to check individual permissions separately, you can do that. But if you want to check multiple permissions, like a set of permissions which user has these, that you can check it together. I hope that answered the question. If not, you can let me know in the chat.
Yep. So we have another question, which is the maintenance release, do they have a different IAC version? So, Anuj, you want to take that?
Yeah. So the maintenance release will have the new IC version. So I think I can combine another question that has been asked and I'll answer both of them together. So it said that if I have a daily scheduled release at 9 p.m. and a new IC version is released from Facets, what will happen is that if it does not have any migrations associated with it, we'll we'll have the new IEC version. So let's say there are no migraine scripts associated with the new release, then the new IEC version will be used. If there are migrations associated with the new IEC version, then you'll keep using the old IEC version until yeah, we'll keep using the new old IEC version until we get you run the maintenance release yourself. So yeah, the old that is how we add the stability to your releases so that the migrations you can run at your time instead of when I automatically run by facets. Yeah, and so maintenance will have the new IC version. Let's say new IC version is out from facets, it will immediately appear on the UI. And if it has a different IC version, it will run those migrant scripts with that IC version. And now all releases that you do, selective or full or whatever, those will have the new IC version being used. Yeah, I think that should be it. Uh, is this clear, Deepak?
Yep, I think we have a next question from Deepak itself, which is in the current processes, if I have a daily scheduled release, let's say at 9 p.m., yeah, you can take it up.
Yeah, this one I think I covered in the previous question itself. So if you have a new IC version, it will use the old IC version until you do the maintenance release and the pending line ships are going. So yeah, I think this is covered in the previous question.
Yep, and I think we have one last question, which is how are project types different from templates?
Right. I think I can answer this by sharing my screen. I think it would be more clear. Right. So project types we saw, right? We saw that project types you can get it from the Shop Center page and you can use it while creating a project. Templates are these ones. So templates are what you can add in your resource directly. So in your blueprint directly rather. So it will be a group of resources that you can add multiple times. Let's say I want S3 Loki of S3 flavor. What I'll do is that I'll add this. It will add 3 resources for me. You can give a prefix for this. Let's say pre-hyphen, and you can add it. So what will happen is that these 3 resources will be added automatically. So you have this pre-Loki S3, pre-Loki S3, and pre-Loki. So these are the Grafana dashboard S3 and log connector for Loki. So this is how we use templates in facets, and what we have in project types are the when you create a blueprint itself, what resources will come with it are the templates. So if I show all resources, you see many more resources, right? These all have come from the default template that facets provides. So yeah, that is the primary difference that you have.
Yep, I think that is pretty much for all our questions. So we're coming towards the end of our session. So we have a new webinar coming up where the VP of Engineering, Porter, and the CEO at Facets, Pravanjan from the team, will be having a discussion of how Porter architected a large-scale cloud migration, right? So this is about their journey from AWS to GCP itself. So we would love to have you guys over and for a great discussion. We will send you an invite. We will send you an invite for this right after the webinar, and we would love to see you guys there soon. Yep. So thank you guys for joining Office Hours. See you next time.